My sister-in-law, let's call her Ashley, told everyone that I am a bad mother. But when we cut off her financial aid and took away everything she did not actually own, the tune changed. I was just doom scrolling through my phone when my husband, Mark, pointed at his own screen and asked if I had seen it yet. Apparently there is a screenshot circulating. It is from Ashley's personal social media page. The post does not mention me directly by name. It is vague enough for anyone who does not know us, but anyone who actually knows our family would figure it out in about 30 seconds. Maybe 20. She is talking about how some people were not born to be parents. She goes on about how negligence comes in different shapes and sizes, and how she worries about the well-being of children in situations where the parent is not equipped for the responsibility that comes with a little life. She continues by saying that money does not fix bad parenting, and that people need to recognize their own limitations instead of acting like they know it all. Mark mentioned that he just saw it, but the post is already a few days old. That is the first thing that bothers me. Not just that it is out there, but that I am finding out later, because my sister-in-law does not have the guts to say these things to my face. I do not say much to that initially. I simply start looking at her other posts. They all follow a pattern where she complains about other people's parenting, but they sound like very specific situations. Although again, vague enough for plausible deniability. There are comments about people having kids for the wrong reasons. Posts about how some parents are just selfish. Photos with captions about how motherhood requires a certain type of person. One post even talks about how sad it is when children suffer because their mother chose the easy path. I start taking screenshots of everything, not knowing exactly what I was going to do with it, but I wanted to prepare myself in case the rattlesnake, because she is treacherous and makes noise, decided to chicken out and delete it. Now she cannot claim she did not post anything. The next morning at breakfast, Mark brought the subject up again. I could see that he was also tired and fed up with his sister. He says that relatives have been asking him questions about whether everything is okay with us, if the kids are being taken care of properly, and if I am handling things well. It made no sense until we found these posts. Apparently, the extended family has been seeing these updates and connecting dots that should not exist. Mind you, none of them were decent enough to send us these posts directly. It was not until my husband saw them by chance. He does not usually go on social media too often. I asked Mark directly how long they have been asking these questions. He says he is not sure, but at least a few months, maybe more. When he asked them what they referred to, they always said that they saw I looked tired or something like that. So I go back to check Ashley's social media again. This time I go much further back in time, almost to the beginning of the year. At first, there is nothing, just normal life stuff. Posts about her apartment, her boyfriend, and typical nonsense. Then around the middle of the year, things change. Gradually, the posts about bad parenting start appearing more frequently. She joins different groups, makes comments on articles about motherhood, and that sort of thing. This makes no sense, unless you are going to be a mother, or you are complaining about one. Then I remember what happened around that date. Mark had mentioned that our son had been having some difficulties at school. Nothing weird, just the stuff you talk about when chatting with family and friends. It was not anything serious either. It was a behavioral issue that we were already addressing with the school and a professional. Neither Mark nor I thought that would be used as ammunition against us. But between what you think and what happens, there is always a long road. Apparently, that was the starting point for all of this. You might think the best thing is to just not tell her anything anymore and the problems with my sister-in-law would end. I wish it were that easy, but the problem here is the audacity. She is posting this public critique of me while I literally pay for her life. Let me backtrack and explain the financial situation because this is where it becomes relevant. About 3 years ago, she moved in with her boyfriend and could not find stable work. Mark mentioned her one day and suggested we help them. I was not thrilled about it, but I accepted it because it was family. We started sending her $800 a month. That is not a small amount, it is significant money for us. On top of that, we have been covering her share of family events, helping her with unexpected expenses, and when she needed a car, I co-signed the loan with her because her credit was not good enough. If it were not for me, she would be paying a much higher interest rate. Over the 3 years, that adds up to something like $36,000. More if you count everything else. Fast forward to about a year ago. Her boyfriend lost his job. Instead of the two of them tightening their belts, she called my husband in a panic and basically demanded that we increase the support. I do not remember how much money she wanted, but I said no, and Mark supported me on that. That was when things got tense. I know she did not take it very well that we would not give her more money, but what could we do? We were not going to continue funding her life indefinitely. Things were said that are not worth repeating, but it was to be expected. It is like when you take the pacifier away from a baby, they are going to cry. Well, Ashley's pacifier was money, and she cried like a spoiled adult brat. No, it was not going to be pretty. What I did not expect was for her to take this route. I mean, you do not bite the hand that feeds you. Now I am sitting here with screenshots of months of public defamation, knowing that family members are questioning if I am a good mother, and my sister-in-law thinks it is okay to do this, thinking that she will get more money from me that way. That is not going to happen. I call her directly, and do not even say hello. I ask her, why are you talking about how I raised my son on the internet? She denies it at first. She says she is just venting about a friend, that it is not about me specifically. I start reading specific posts and ask her to explain how it sounds exactly like me, and what exactly is her friend's problem that makes it resemble my life so much. We also talk about the timeline, the details, and how it starts when I refuse to give her more money. She changes tactics. She says she is frustrated, she likes writing about things on her profile to de-stress, and how our fight had pushed her to this and that it was not a big deal. We argued quite a bit. Why should I swallow her excuse? Then she adds something about how maybe if I were a better mother, this would not bother me so much. That is when I knew this conversation was not going to go anywhere productive. I tell her we will talk about it later and hang up. Mark asks me what is happening, and I tell him his sister is running out of money. She was still receiving the $800 from Mark, but that was going to stop, and he agreed. This person has been publicly attacking my character as a mother while I am supporting her financially, directly or indirectly. That is not something you forgive. That is something where you hit them hard with the chair and then bury them 6 feet under. We reached the decision that the money stops. The $800 a month is gone. The loan co-signed by me is a little more difficult, but we will see what possibilities we have. We are done. Mark does not doubt it for a second. He says it is fair to punish her for being ungrateful. Only he is wrong, because I point out that we are not punishing anyone, but giving her what she deserves. Simply put, we are no longer funding someone who actively works against us. The next day, I send a message, short and factual, to my dear sister-in-law, because you are an idiot, you are out of money. With love, your sister-in-law. Her response arrives within hours. She goes through the usual repertoire: denial, victim mentality, and guilt manipulation. She asks what she did wrong. If you have to ask what you did wrong, then you should not go out into the outside world without supervision. She asks what she can do to fix this, saying she is willing to delete everything she posted. The tone is manipulative, designed to make my husband feel guilty because she already knows she lost me. But what she does not know is that Mark supports me 100% and that she can go to hell. I do not respond. Mark does not either. The next thing we did was talk to a lawyer. We wanted to know how to get out of that co-signed contract, but also sue to try and recover the largest amount of money we have wasted on her. We scheduled a meeting. In the meantime, she tries to call a few times, mostly to Mark. We both reject the calls, but we do not block her yet in case she leaves a message that could be useful. Then she switches to sending messages to my father-in-law, with the full repertoire of victimization you can imagine. From claiming she is a victim of the system, to saying she is very, very sick. She completely omits, of course, the months of public character assassination. She presents it as if Mark and I woke up one day and decided to be cruel to her. The reality is simpler. We stopped paying for her life, and it is like we unplugged her life support machine. So, that is where we are. I know we are far from finished. Entitled people are like cockroaches. They can survive even a nuclear explosion. And while we are far from a Chernobyl moment, I am anxious to reach those levels of radiation for her when we speak with the lawyer. I know she is telling others her version of events, suitable for entitled people. But let her keep wasting oxygen on that, so when the lawsuit arrives, she will be very tired. Update 1. We are a few weeks out since we cut off the financial support and updated our wills. I have not heard from her directly, as strange as that seems, but that is fine. But I am hearing about her in indirect ways. And the image that is emerging is not one of someone reflecting on their choices, I can assure you of that. At best, what is emerging is a monster with even more entitlement. Mark mentions that he ran into someone at a social event who knows her. This person brought up that Ashley has been saying her life is ruined, and we have a lot to do with that. It makes me happy. If she wants to screw up my life, I am going to screw hers up double. But here's where it gets interesting. She is claiming that we actually never helped her. That she is a fighter in life. That she has always found a way to get back on her feet. But that we are jealous or whatever, and that now we are looking to tear her down. The funny thing is that she has faith she will find her way to the top again. The only way to the top she knows is through escalators. That is what she used for 3 years. And we were fine with that until she started publicly attacking my character. Now she will have to use the normal stairs like everyone else. I am sure she will faint on the first step. The person Mark ran into also mentioned something else. She believes I am jealous of her because she is dating a younger man, because I am tied to a child, and because she thinks she is much smarter and more beautiful than me. Only in her little head can such things occur. We have not given comments, because what we are going to do is sue for defamation. Her posts have been clear enough to know she is talking about us. And even if she deletes them, we already have all the proof. The other things she says, she will have to prove. My in-laws sent a message to Mark. She visited them and told them how mean we are being to her. They already know our version, but they decided to tell us what she told them anyway. In short, she claims we threatened to sue her, which is not a threat, it is a reality. She claims we have never been supportive, and that the financial help was always conditional and given grudgingly. Mark's other brother reached out to us. Ashley has been pressuring him for money. She wants a temporary short-term loan that will help her get back on her feet, to then pay it back in a very short time. She specifically emphasized that this is separate from the issue with us. She went from attacking us publicly to systematically working the family tree, asking for money. Mark's brother rejected her request and mentioned it to Mark for transparency. Good decision on his part. A few days later, Mark's other brother, not the same one, reaches out with something different. Ashley has also been pressuring him, but with a new angle. She's been telling them that my husband is controlled by me. That if Mark really thought about the obvious, that she will always be around because she is his sister and I am just passing through his life, he would annul my decision and resume the financial support. Mark does not like how that sounds. I end up defending him so he does not do anything foolish and so he thinks about the possibilities of our lawsuit. She does not stop. She just becomes quieter about it. Mark receives another call, this time from her ex-boyfriend Brian. He calls with news that they are breaking up. He is moving for an opportunity he got, and he is leaving Ashley to her own devices. He explains that he discovered she has been lying to him about multiple aspects of their relationship, although there was no infidelity, and not just about us. Her version of events regarding what happened with us does not match anything he has been finding out, and more importantly, her constant victim mentality and shifting of blame have made the relationship unsustainable. A few days later, Ashley tries to communicate with Mark once more, not asking for money directly this time. She has already learned that does not work. Instead, she is asking if they can simply talk and get past this. Mark rejects her. He is not interested in the conversation. That is just going to be another manipulation attempt. My in-laws communicate with us about a week later. Apparently, they had a conversation with her where she tried the same manipulation on them that she has tried with everyone else. She asked if they could speak to us on her behalf, if they could convince us to be reasonable. My in-laws rejected it. They realized she has been dishonest about the situation, and they are not going to play the role of mediators. The lawsuit has not been filed yet, but it will not take much longer. The lawyer is building a solid case, and we are sure that next week or the one after, she will be served the papers. Update 2. The lawsuit is filed. Although we expected a good fireworks show, I think that has finally shut her up. Nothing shuts you up more than a lawsuit for opening your mouth. Loose lips sink ships, and she is drowning now in debt and lack of money. As I said, I have not heard much from her in this time, until I receive a call from Mark's father. They have evicted Ashley. Not in the immediate sense where she is on the street tomorrow, but the formal notice has been delivered. She and Brian were renting, and without the $800 we were sending monthly, they could not keep up with their share of the rent. The breakup accelerated things. When he moved out, the landlord realized he was not going to receive money, and gave the order. She has fallen behind a few months, and now there is a formal eviction process underway, which is similar to the loan for her car, which she has stopped paying, and they have repossessed it to recover the money. Luckily, my lawyer is working on some Jedi lawyer moves, and expects that will not affect my credit score. A week passes in this hurricane for Ashley. Then I find out through a conversation with someone who knows her that she has been calling various family members to ask if she can move in with them temporarily while she resolves her housing situation. The responses have varied from, I don't think so, to hell no. But yes, nobody wants her temporarily in their house. They know there is nothing temporary when she is being sued. Her job pays peanuts, and she does not even have her ex. Once they let her stay, it is like adopting a stray dog. You will never be able to kick her out. In the case of the dog, you get attached. In Ashley's case, it is because she will have clawed her way into any furniture she finds. Yes, nobody was anxious to open their home to her. She has also been telling different stories about why she is being evicted. For some people, it is because the landlord was unfair and the rent was increased suddenly. For others, it is because Brian abandoned her and left her with all the rent. Fast forward about 10 days, the eviction is moving forward, and Ashley is starting to panic with no options. She is contacting more family members. She is asking for money directly this time, not even pretending it is a loan. She needs deposits. She needs to secure a new place. She needs help with moving costs. Some family members are giving her small amounts of money, $5 here, $100 there, but asking her not to spend it all in one place. If the eviction stays on her record for 7 years, maybe she will save enough for a new deposit. She just has to keep her hopes up and do something so the landlord does not kick her out. Maybe, if she is as beautiful and young as she says, she has a chance. Mark discovered the account where she was accepting these donations, so he transferred $1. He wanted to send 1 cent to be pettier, but the bank app did not allow him to make such a small transfer. In the transfer message he wrote, "Hope you get back on your feet soon." Around this time, I discovered something interesting. She has been applying for apartments in Brian's name and claiming that he is the leaseholder with her as an occupant. This is because her rental history now includes an eviction, which makes her a high-risk tenant on her own. She is trying to skirt the system because she cannot qualify on her own merits. 3 weeks after the eviction process, she finally gets approved for a new apartment. It is cheaper than where she was living. It is in a less desirable area, but she has a place, until the new landlord discovers she lied and kicks her out of the apartment in less than 48 hours. They can literally do that if she has lied on her application. We think she must be sleeping with some friend or coworker, someone nice enough, foolish enough, or who does not know the truth to let her stay. She had asked for help with her move, to the place she was then evicted from again, with help from a friend, the same one she probably lives with. Nobody in her family has helped her, although she has asked for help. Not us, since we would have rejected it anyway. If she lives with a friend and has no rent expenses, that is good for our chances of recovering something in our lawsuit. We hope it resolves soon, perhaps with a settlement so as not to reach a trial. Anyway, we know that with a trial involved she would not be able to pay, so a settlement that she can pay is our best chance. She will still have legal fees and a valuable lesson if she wants to learn. If not, she will have gone through a very expensive experience for nothing. Update 3. Although we have a settlement and will not take the defamation to trial, I have a lot to tell about what happened during our meeting with a mediator. We had the intention of recovering the maximum possible of the more than $36,000 that we have spent on her over 3 years. But I will talk about that later. First, how the meeting went. We arrived with our lawyer and she did with hers. There we began negotiations, since she, probably on the advice of her lawyer, was willing to negotiate. We started near $45,000, which is a more real figure of all the expenses we have had with her. But she started her counteroffer with $5,000. Mark told her that if she was not going to take this seriously, then we would leave and see each other in court. Then she began to increase it, first to $6,000, then to $7,000. But when she saw that Mark was losing patience and was ready to take his things and leave, she increased it to $12,000. I was entertained, because I went in with the mindset that this was going to be a show, and so it was. My possible problems with my credit score were resolved by then, which was what worried me the most. You know how hard it is to get a loan if your score is not very good? Any money we could get out of Ashley was practically a gift from the gods. Besides, I knew we would not leave empty-handed. Mark still thinks the offer of $12,000 is very low, but she starts begging the mediator to force Mark to accept. The mediator tells her that he cannot do anything, only help the parties reach an understanding, but he cannot force anyone. Then she starts begging our lawyer, all while hers asks her, in other words, to behave. While Mark was in combat mode, in the mode of returning home with a good offer, he was also laughing at his sister. Our lawyer told her that we were not going to go below $30,000, which was not true because we had a lower minimum, but he was negotiating. Ashley begged that she did not have that money and had never seen it all together, but our lawyer replied not to worry about that he could draft an agreement with a payment plan. In the end, we accepted $20,000 to be paid over 3 years. I know it does not come close to the figure we gave Ashley, but this was not a lawsuit for that. We could not sue for the money we gave her without it being a formal loan. We were suing for defamation. The strategy was to reach a settlement close enough to the figure, but if not, to the figure that hurt Ashley the most. Anything above $10 would do it. However, the agreement, drafted by our lawyer, read by her lawyer, and signed by Ashley, has a clause that if 2 payments are late, she will have to pay $40,000 in compensation, interest, and other legal issues. That is to ensure she is very motivated to make the payments and does not forget. Which I think is fair, considering how some of her posts reached the mothers of my son's classmates, who spoke to the school because they had concerns about me. We have not reached the first payment yet, but soon we will, and we will know if she has complied or not. I would do it, because between paying $20,000 or $40,000 there is an abysmal difference. But we know that thinking is not Ashley's strong suit. So I will not say that this is my last update, and I will save it for a couple of months from now. Update 4. Now I can say with certainty that this will be the last update. More things may happen, but I am already tired of this. I promised to return in 2 months, but for the first few months, Ashley paid on time. Well, running a few days late, but always within the 2-month limit, until, in the 4th month, she owed the 3rd and the 4th. So we executed the clause of what we signed, and now she owes us $40,000. It is probable that she will not pay it, or that we will take a long time to see that money. But we have managed to garnish part of her salary so that, at least, part of what she owes us comes out of there. The good thing is that the $40,000 is almost everything we have lent her. So, if in some millennium she returns it, it will be very good. I do not have much confidence that will happen, but it amuses me to see how her salary bleeds every month to pay a part of ours. She has even moved again, because the new apartment she had finally obtained became so expensive so fast that she had to leave it. If you know someone like my sister-in-law, send this to them so they can read it. Maybe it will help them make better decisions and not end up like her, in debt until after she dies and in the afterlife. Edit. I know she cannot pay her debts when she dies. It was just to give more drama to the last sentence of my last post. One cannot be happy anymore without having everything corrected.